Hello! How are you doing this fine evening? And today we are playing Disfigure. Let's see, I believe that today we have on the itinerary the minigun. Which, is, despite popular belief, is not my favorite weapon. But I will make it work. Such is the nature of the beast. And I will tell you exactly how I intend to do that. Very first thing you need when getting a minigun is you need to go ahead and you need to blind yourself. That game? Oh, okay. We're good. Game's fairly stable, but occasionally it just stops and stares at me, and it gets a little concerning at times. Anyway, listen. Here's the plan. The plan is that we're going to go ahead and we're going to immediately book it to blindness. You know, if we can find it. We may also take like radar in the. Okay, we need a couple things to come online. First and foremost, is we need blind telekinesis, but we also need radar, so we get frozen radar and shine on you, which will just increase our total damage output. But then again, that's pretty much a given for any build. If you don't have radar and you don't have blind telekinesis, then you're pretty much out of luck in the long term. Okay, conceal fatigue. I will also be getting the shield because I'm going to be taking a risky maneuver and trying to get to the late game with this build. Who's to say if it will actually work though? Because the main difficulty with the minigun is that it does not scale particularly well. Radar is up. By late game, particularly with its how should I say, the weapon specific perks are very high risk, high reward, or useless. One or the other. Let's see here. Bulk rounds, slow projectiles. We're also going to need slow projectiles on the itinerary, but let's go ahead and get it now. We work with what we got. Now, a problem I'm going to wind up facing very quickly if I don't get some better equipment is that everything's going to outscale me. Ooh! I like how I just nearly walked right into that. It's really a show of my skill that I nearly kill myself in the very first, 6 minutes. I want shields eventually. Yep. But the problem is that Bullet Cyclone doesn't do a lot for the Gatling gun, simply because its projectiles are so weak. And so going into Rage is when it starts to actually work for you, and until you get Supernova, it's of no real use. But let's see what we can get. I do need to... Oh, there's Patient Stalker. I want to get something to make myself stronger, but I need blind telekinesis. That cannot wait, because at that point, that's when I start getting the experience I need, and that's when things start coming to a head. Bulk rounds. That will get me into piercing rounds, which, again, very important. Because piercing rounds basically determine how quickly you can end a boss. And how quickly you can end a boss determines how quickly more enemies appear on screen. Because bosses are made up of multiple limbs, and as a result, fire rate... Oh, I don't want fire rate right now. Radiation might be a good pick, but I don't have it to be, I don't have what it needs to be online just yet. Projectile bottleneck... piercing rounds. Okay. That'll work. Now I can make this work for me. Radiation is going to be a must eventually, but for now, I need to get piercing rounds and blind telekinesis on deck. Radiation will eventually be very important. Radiation may even be described as my win condition. Blind fire. Blind fire is online. And paired with radar, that's a whole lot of nonsense I don't have to deal with. Okay. Strong rotor. Vision rounds. Vision rounds are basically useless. There are so many other ways to get vision out that there's no point to it. Rapid spin. That would also be nice. Strong rotor, plus 50% bullets. Honestly, I'm thinking in strong rotor right now. Ups our damage by 50%, which is going to be necessary for anything that we want to take on. It feeds into radiation as well, so let's see here. No. Frozen radar. I can work with that. Okay. Now we've reached the part where we're about to find out if my build is good enough for my purposes. If not, I'll be constantly pushed back by the swarm of freaks coming in. Hollow point, bullet damage, bullet size, bullet speed. Yep. Think we made it through. Okay. So now we need puncture rounds. As projectiles will pierce through 3 enemies, dealing 50% more damage for each enemy pierced. This is very important, specifically for bosses, especially like the second boss, which is a multi-segmented moron. Makes him go away very quickly, and I think that's just an objective improvement on life. Alright. Shrapnel, full metal jacket. Projectiles will pierce through infinite enemies, dealing 100% more damage for each enemy pierced. Yes, please. Please and thank you. And just like that, bosses are now a non-issue. Yeah, they'll take a little bit of pounding in order for us to properly bring down, but honestly, that's nothing compared to what we got. Maximum caliber. Bullet speed, bullet damage. Yes, please. Yeah, right now we're still relying on the minigun, and it's going to be that way for a while yet. I may pick up radiation the next time I see it, simply so I can deal with these smaller ones on my own terms. It depends on if blind fire is in the mix. Sorry, not blind fire, blind telekinesis. There's blind telekinesis. My honey, my baby, my summertime gal. And just like that, we get our next level. And there's radiation, just waiting for me. And now radiation works in conjunction with radar, meaning that even if I don't see it, the radar catches it, meaning that it immediately dies. It's because you really have to focus on what's going to kill you now, not 5 weeks from now. Electricity would be nice, but no. Let's fill it with electricity. Not the most important part of the build, but it's a nice helper. An extra 20% damage, and it acts as a nice marker. If someone gets hit once, I know where they are pretty much for the remainder of their lives. You know, I think it's important to stay in contact with people. It's the only way that you really get to know someone, after all. I mean, after all, a funeral is the most important part of anyone's life, right? Okay. Quick draw. Fire rate up 20%. That's just a flat buff, but this is one thing that that isn't immediately obvious, but if you pick a base perk, it unlocks 2 more perks, which dilutes the selection. So you have to be careful in what you pick. I may go ahead and leave that off the table for now and see if I can get something better. Let's go ahead and get the shield. Like I said, we're going for the long haul, and there's going to be some stupid shenanigans going on. Additionally, if I go ahead and get all the way to Nova, then I'll be able to do more with it. If I get to Nova, then we'll have something to work with. Weapon perk. Okay. Crippling shot. Shooting an enemy 4 times permanently slows them down by 50%. Now, I would like this, but the problem is that I want to kill them, not slow them down. And every time I pick one of these secondaries, I can't to pick something better. Guard break. Damaging enemies increases the damage they take from by bullets by 10%. Again, I don't know if that stacks though. I don't believe it does. So wind up is the go-to. Slows down your movement speed, but fire rate goes up by 50%, which is just objectively the correct choice. You don't need to run if everything's dead, and you can get some pretty insane top speeds. And by the time that the enemy is actually fast enough to start dealing with you, they're dying left, right, and center. Now, as you can see, this is coming together quite well. And let's see. I could go with swiftness, which would increase my movement speed by 10%, but I don't think that's the correct choice right now. Oh, there's Bullet Cyclone. Bullet Cyclone, like I said, Bullet Cyclone itself isn't that good, but it gets you into more important stuff later on. Specifically, it gets you into Supernova, which not only halves the amount of enemies it takes to get you back up on your shield, it also goes ahead and like makes everything visible, which means that radiation hits everything for that span of time. And that just has so many benefits that I can't really even go into the details of it. Okay. Let's go ahead and go with heavy radiation, because, okay, another thing. Heavy radiation increases radiation damage increased by 10% for each enemy revealed in vision. Radiation plus 20%. Now, if you go ahead and look here, the topmost line can actually be completed. I don't want to finish fluorescent radiation, and so it makes sense to go ahead and finish this one first, this top line first, and then circle back around to quick radiation and rapid fire radiation. And because I'm never going to pick fluorescent radiation, because his damaging enemies will spawn a temporary vision circle that lasts for a second. Useless. Useless. And the cost is radiation damage minus 30. You nuke your damage for something that ultimately doesn't matter. So there is no good reason to do that. It's just cutting your nose off to spite your own face. A nose is hard to duplicate, so don't do it. Now, let's see it. This is the part where I think the boss is going to be coming up in the next 2 minutes. Oh, explosive radiation. Ooh, I could also get Shine on You. That would also finish out the tech tree on that and make it so that I get more and better options as we go forward. So yeah, Shine on You. Let's go. Shine on You also has the efficacy of highlighting multiple enemies at a time. So it's honestly just perfect for what I'm trying to do here. And I believe that the boss just spawned. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Now this shouldn't take too long, since everyone and everything is basically dying around him. Of course, we still have enemies off to the left, right, and center. Come on, come on. And we just... There you go! First boss down. 7 minutes in. Not too shabby. Of course, there are more powerful weapons that can just delete bosses, but the Gatling gun does the trick. And I don't think I should complain too much. Okay, explosive radiation. That'll get us one step closer to the end of the road there. And now we see that the big boys are coming out to play. The major problem with the larger enemies coming out, I guess I'll just call them the freaks. The problem with the freaks coming out is that they replace the smaller units which means that your quantity of enemies is go down, which means that, say hypothetically, if your shield winds up getting nuked, then that means that you have to kill more and more difficult enemies in order to get the same effect. Alright, and there's slug radiation, that completes that. That's another tech tree finished, so now hopefully we'll get more and better options. So yeah, the freaks go ahead and they replace a lot of these smaller units, which in turn means that it takes more to bring them down, which means it takes more to up your shield to get better benefits, and it's just a pain. Just a pain, you know? Yeah. And the major problem is that they are extremely fast, extremely tanky. So if you don't have the correct amount of speed and damage, they can wind up surprising you, even with a radar that freezes for them for a couple seconds. Alright. Quick draw, that ups the fire rate, but I don't want to go ahead and pop the top on that just yet. It's, let's see. Shrapnel, don't want to pop the top on that. Guided missile, let's reroll. Bleed, shield boost. Dang, they are insistent, aren't they? Well, bleed is going to be a positive on the whole. Killing 50 enemies while shield barrier is active temporarily increases all weapon stats by 5%. Stacks up to 25. I'm honestly leading towards bleed, simply because 50% chance when dealing damage to enemies to inflict bleed, dealing 5 damage. So that's not a lot, but I deal a lot of damage very quickly. Specifically, my fire rate is so high that it just works in my favor. What I really need to do is I need to go ahead and deal with these projectiles. Because if I go ahead and get my in-game equipment online, and I do not have a means to delete projectiles, I am dead ski. I am completely out of luck, and not long for the world. Alright. Stopping power. Is that the last in the line? Yeah. Bullet damage, fire rate. Okay. Again, more options. Bullet damage. Stopping power is almost just a flat buff. It takes it like a 10% hit to your fire rate, but honestly, that's so small in comparison to everything else you have. It's not really a issue. In fact, I don't know of a single weapon that would negatively be negatively affected by that. A 10% reduction in exchange for an increase in damage is never a bad thing. I mean, I suppose it would technically interfere with some radiation proc builds, like if you're constantly trying to throw radiation into the fire again and again. But personally, I don't see it. Outflow. Outflow is also a good one. Oh, light target. Enemies revealed in vision take 20% more damage. And I'd want to go ahead and get to light in the dark, where all enemies take 5% more damage for each enemy revealed in vision. And because eventually nothing's going to be able to hide from me. So light target. If I can see it, I want it to die quickly. Just as a rule. Oh yeah, because now the big freaks start coming out. And the big freaks don't play so nice. Again, another synergy with the supernova shield, which we will be getting as time goes on. At this juncture, what I really need is to go ahead and get something that deals with projectiles, though. See, he's getting pretty close, and having to deal with projectiles on top of enemies that are already fast, not the most ideal circumstance. And let's see. Quick radiation. None of these leap out at me as something I want. Quick radiation is acceptable, but not really what I need right now. Chain lightning. I mean, I guess we can start working towards outflow. Let's see here. Chain lightning. Electromagnetism. Electromagnetism is mostly useless. Outflow eventually culminates in bloodlust. Enemies killed by outflow will spill blood on the floor, damaging enemies that walk over it. Outflow deals 25 damage. Honestly, it seems like the best option I have right now. Simply because I don't have the stuff I actually want. I mean, I could probably go ahead and start working on, say, the flashbangs. Flashbangs would also be very helpful because they've got two perks. One that goes ahead and gives me a slight slowdown. I could also go ahead and start working in the gleam, which again has perks that allow you to go ahead and manipulate light circles. Particularly, there's one that like stuns enemies every 3 seconds, which, there you go, you get me once. That's how easy it is. Now, hopefully I'll be able to chew through enough enemies to either make a level or get that back. Either one would suit me well. Oh no. Oh no. Choose weapon perk. Okay, so I have 3 options. I have accelerating barrel. Every shot, every second while you're shooting, fire rate increases by 10, but movement speed decreases by 10%. Human sentry. Bullet damage and size increased by 100% when standing still. This would double my damage. Likewise, this would accelerate. This would double my fire rate. And rapid spin would just do it 35%. The problem with these two is that they only work while you're stopped. And if I had, I'm gonna go with rapid spin. That's not the most optimal, but I don't think I have everything I need online in order to make that work. And if I have to stop for any extended period of time, I'm gonna die. Simply because I don't have any way to deal with the projectiles that the game is throwing at me. I don't have any way to deal with the large enemies the game is throwing at me. There's a lot that needs to come online to make that last weapon perk work. Oh, shield back up. Okay. Yeah, you'll often find that in this game, if you get yourself to a point where the enemies are hitting you at all, they're going to keep hitting you more. Unless you like level up and get something that changes the dynamic, and you're just gonna keep getting hit. The shield is almost essential to prevent that fallout, simply due to the fact that go away, I'm busy. Is almost essential to complete that dynamic. Let's see here. Give me a moment. I'll get back to what I was saying. Okay. On the topic of gleam, flash freeze. Circle of light will freeze enemies every 3 seconds. That would be very nice to have. That and light wave. Also, speed of light. Movement speed increased by 20% while vision circle is active. So all of these work together to go a long way. So I'm opening a can of worms by activating gleam, but I think it's worth it. Oh, or we could get projectile bottleneck. Enemy projectiles move 50% slower, but damage is increased by 10%. You know what? I'm thinking that's the one. All right. Yeah, it's ultimately the best decision because it keeps in-game the enemy from acting up. Alrighty. Ironically, the front of the animal now dies last, simply because I deal less damage overall when they're in a line. Like the front will always take the least damage, so it is the last one to die. Stop it, please, gentlemen. Gentlemen, listen, listen, listen. Nope. Got me again. And that is why I have the shield. Because I'm bad at the game. Perfect. Now, there is a distinct... Oh! Now, I've never personally understood the point of, like, projectile deflection. And because it just tanks your damage so much. Yeah, projectile deflection. Shoot an enemy in projectile to deflect it towards a random enemy, dealing 100% bullet damage. Enemy projectiles with green shell cannot be deflected. Thing is, any projectiles with green trails are only spawned by one enemy. Only one enemy does that. So, to that end, and even if you upgrade, shooting an enemy projectile increases the damage of your bullets by 100%. Deflected projectiles of your bullet by 100%. Deflected projectiles deal 200% in bullet damage. And then finally, chain deflection. If a deflected projectile kills an enemy, it will spawn another deflected projectile at the same location. Problem is that this completely ignores the end game, so it's useless. Alright. I guess we're gonna go flashbang. And flashbangs aren't good starting out, but they break you into two more schools, which are useful. First of all is the flashbang will freeze nearby enemies for a second, and then it breaks you into vision delay. Enemies are slowed down by 20% for 2 seconds after being revealed in vision. Not a long time, but enough. And then vision halt, which slows enemies down by 30% for 4 seconds after being revealed in vision. And finally, culminating in vision rays. Every 5th enemy killed explodes into 3 temporary vision rays. So you see everything. Yeah, I think that's good for now. Alright. So, more or less what I need at this point is a way to delete projectiles. Oh yeah, I forgot that due to how fast I shoot, I just deal a incredible amount of flashbangs. I just throw them out near endlessly. Without even trying, really. Yep. None of that now. Oh, my shield's back up. I was playing a dangerous game and didn't even realize it. So my next hope is that we go ahead and get something along the lines of Nova, you know, Supernova for the shield, or Vision Delay. Vision Delay works. Or we could go ahead and get Gleam. Light Irritation also works. These are all good options. But I'm currently favoring Vision Delay, since that's going to keep enemies off my back for a while longer yet. Provided I don't do anything stupid, you know? You'd be surprised how long 2 seconds are. It adds up quickly. 2 seconds are often enough to go ahead and provide you the time to terminate whatever would otherwise be causing you trouble for that day. Go away. So yeah, the main deal from here on out is that I have to go ahead. I have to get something. I'm thinking that if I can get a shield, a better quality shield, that would be nice. That would, honestly, the highest quality shield is probably the single most important option, especially if you're doing a radiation build, which honestly you should always be doing a radiation build. Let's see here. Quick radiation, chain lightning. Honestly, I need more radiation anyway. Radiation takes 1 less shot to activate, which means it's going to be pretty much constant. Okay, now the big boys are showing up, so this takes us into the end game. I believe that the final boss will be showing up in 3 minutes. I believe it shows up at 20 minutes on the dot. So the difficulty of this point going forward is just going to be dealing with projectiles until the boss is taken care of. Also, the larger freaks are going to start coming after us like a freight train. Runaway train, never coming back. Runaway train on a one-way track. But, as usual, I have a plan. Whether that plan is actually going to come to fruition is an entirely different matter. But I have a plan. Okay. Vision halt. Enemies are slowed by 30% for 4 seconds after being revealed in vision. Rapid fire radiation. Fire rate plus 20% takes 2 less shots to activate. Honestly, that one's pretty tempting as well. But slowing enemies down is going to be essential. I could also do frost flashbang. Enemies will freeze near. Flashbangs will freeze nearby enemies for a second, but I'm thinking vision halt. 4 seconds to respond to any new threat. It basically means that anything I see has to wait a little. It's basically a timeout for the big boys, which is essential. I cannot overstate how necessary it is to keep these boys from swarming on you, because you'll wind up dying just ridiculously fast. But now I have to go ahead and I have to get myself a better shield specifically. I don't think that I'll be able to make it to like the post game if I go without a shield. In order to get a shield, I need more experience, you know? And I've only got a minute until the boss shows up. Now, this part is where things start to drag out a little long, because his levels start coming in between, you know, start coming in slower than usual. Alright. Rage. When shield barrier is activated, all weapon stats are doubled for 5 seconds. Shield barrier recharges every 150 kills. Very essential. That now gets me on the list for Supernova, which is pretty much the ultimate skill for radiation. And again, because you have radiation, everything that you see is pretty much dead meat if it touches you. So it's kind of a perpetual cycle where you go ahead, you take a little bit of damage, you know, not actual damage, but enough damage to your shield, and then you go ahead and you activate its you activate Supernova. Everything on the map is revealed. You go ahead and quickly take your kills, and then you move on to the next one, and then you do it all over again. Go away. I don't have time for you. Yep. He doesn't have time for me either. You know, the big trouble is that past this point, I'm going to need something to actually boost my damage, because enemies are going to get faster and stronger, and I don't have anything offhand that fits that description. This boy's nearly chewed through. There you go. Alright. So 20 minutes in. Sorry, 21 minutes in. We have the boss down. Now we go ahead and go for a high score. And in order to do that, once again, we're going to need Nova because that activates our shield. So, strictly speaking, Nova seems to be our current big win. It's going to be what takes us from an okay build to an unstoppable build. In theory. I have no idea if it'll actually work. I said I had a plan. I never said it was a good one. I make a lot of plans. I'm sure that that this individual who apparently went into the heart of a nuclear reactor to fight its giant insectoid vermin and had a plan as well. But we all know that's not going well for him. Though, to his credit, if you're going to go into a giant nuclear reactor with a bunch of insects trying to kill you, bringing a minigun is probably the right thing to bring. Much better than bringing a pistol. Alright. Shrapnel, Gleam. None of these are what I need. Meet your maker. Killing an enemy will instantly destroy all projectiles that they fire. Bullet damage plus 30%, minus 10 fire rate. Again, minus 10 fire rate, but this means that projectiles are no longer an issue. No longer a major issue, anyway. Just a shame that none of the other perks related to it do anything. But we take the hand we're dealt, right? Now, let's see here. If I had to go ahead and improve this build anyway, I mean, I think that improving the flashbangs with the stun would be nice. Really, we're just seeing how far we can go ahead and push this build now. Honestly, I really wish I could go ahead and gain experience faster. Oh, went ahead and actually touched the guy. Hopefully that doesn't have long-reaching consequences. Hopefully I can go ahead and get my shield back up before anything bad happens. Need to go ahead and get 150 kills. Not that difficult, but difficult enough. Come on, die now. Yeah, the problem with the piercing rounds is that they don't really do anything for enemies that are tanky. You know, just single target enemies. I need to go ahead and line them all up in order to do anything, and then all the smaller enemies just die way too easily for that to happen. Alright. Anything else? Yeah, as you can see, this boy's behind the other. Goes away quickly. Getting to level 40 is a pain. I'm not gonna lie. So, let's go ahead and think about this for a second. The big trick is to go ahead and... Oh, my shield's back up. Just in the nick of time, too. Honestly wouldn't do if I went ahead and just stepped into something and wound up dying. Not at this late stage. Honestly, I'm curious how it's all going to come together as soon as I get Nova. Nova's kind of the final step for this. You know, if I survive that long. I don't seem to be dealing as much damage as I would like. And enemies are getting faster and stronger. Oop. I like how I just stopped right in front of him, like, hey, yeah, go ahead and hit me. It's fine. I definitely need more XP if I'm going to make this work, though. Alright, what we got here? Light irritation. Enemies revealed in light take 50% more damage. Singularity. Projectile split. Projectile split does nothing for me. At best, I could go with light irritation, but that's really just delaying the problem. I mean, 50% more damage. Most of the my problems are in light. Case in point. Being able to deny the enemy getting any closer to me is always a positive step in my opinion. No, 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 no. Go away. Oh, he nearly got me. This is not working out too well. I desperately need Nova. Desperately need a lot of things, to be honest. Oh, sounds like I got some thunder going on. Oh, and I got hit again. Oh boy. And nope, 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 nope. So what I need right now is I need the means to go ahead and level up a little bit more. I'm thinking that main problem is that these guys are just so much faster than me, and again that's partially the fault of the wind-up. The minigun is supposed to be stationary, but it's just not strong enough to facilitate that kind of play style. At least not any way that I've found. So it's a weird scenario where you need to be absurdly strong in order to make it work. But you need to also be stationary in order to make it work, and you can't be stationary. So as a result, you get none of anything, none of what you need in order to make it all come together. Which is what makes it a middling weapon. It's enough to defeat the final boss of the game. Not enough to bring you much further than that, though. There are other weapons that do the same thing it does, but better. Ironically, I think the knife is probably a better is probably better at what it does than this. Okay, light in the darkness. All enemies take 5% in damage for each enemy revealed in vision. Honestly, time to get rich in environment. Let's do it. First mark of damage. It's happening, just as I said it would. Only a matter of time now. I just can't keep up with the damage these guys are outputting. Case in point, I'm just not strong enough to delete them all. The minigun damage does too little base damage. If the minigun, I believe the minigun does like 5 points base damage. If the minigun did like 7 or 10, I wouldn't be having this problem. 7 or 10 base damage for the minigun. Nope, 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 nope. But as it is, I'm kind of out of luck in that regard. Because even with all the procs, I just don't do enough damage to make it work. Go away. Yeah, even now, I'm not even to level 40 and I'm already backed into a corner, more or less. More damage. Oh, I got my shield up in time, though. But it's not going to be enough. More damage. The end is nigh. If I don't get something huge on in the next level up, that's all she wrote. Ah, 2 more hits. That's all it's going to take. That's it. Nope, I couldn't bring it together. Maybe if I had like flash freeze on, and if I had flash freeze on the, what do you call it? On the flashbangs, that might have been enough. Simply because I could have focus fired on the large enemies and kept them from closing the distance. But without it, without something to either increase my damage or to slow the enemy down, I just didn't have what it takes. I think my big mistake was trusting in vision to go ahead and slow the enemies down long enough to do that, and I should have been focusing on the flashbang. And or maybe I shouldn't have been putting in any points into bleed. That might have also done it. Anyway, that's all the time I have for now. See you. Bye.